What's good, people? It's your boy Mac back at it again with some more boxing news, views, and opinions. Let's get it. So I hear Errol Spence activated his rematch clause against Terrence Crawford. Now, this is interesting because it's going to be at 154 instead of 147. And the thing that people are wondering is, was that the deciding factor? Was it a weight drain issue? Was it just one of those things where, a perfect storm of things going on with EJ, where when he came in that night, he might have been, not expecting things to go the way they did? Was it an issue with his training, or was it just that Terrence Crawford was just better that night, or was just a better fighter all around, Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. It's gonna be different fighting, being on top of the division, having all that pressure on you, than when you have nothing to lose. That's gonna be a different Errol Spence. I'm actually interested to see how Errol Spence, with nothing to lose, comes into the ring, and how he goes out there mentally, because we all know Errol is a dog, and he comes out there to try to pressure, but that game plan, as we seen, wasn't the one that he needed for a fighter of Terrence Crawford's skill set. So I'm interested to see what he does. Now let's get into the psychological aspects first of this ring return, right? Errol Spence is gonna have to make a choice between, at this point, whether it's gonna be about his career overall or whether it's gonna be about his rivalry with Terrence Crawford, which pretty much permeated his career for, let's say, the past at least 5 years, maybe even longer than that. Is that what your comeback is going to be about, just the Terrence Crawford rivalry, or is it going to be about your career? I think there's a couple factors that he needs to take into consideration. The damage he might have sustained from the last fight compared to the damage Terrence Crawford sustained, which was hardly any. It might have arguably been his easiest fight. It's not gonna fare well, I think, for Errol Spence just physically to come back this soon, right? That's just my opinion. I don't know how resistant he is. I mean, we seen the man walk away from a Lamborghini accident like the Wraith in real life. Y'all remember that movie, The Wraith, that 80s movie? That's EJ, right? He the Wraith. He coming back, And it's funny that they call Frank Martin the Ghost. It could be the Ghost and the Wraith on what, So we gonna see how it work in that aspect, because Bud he's getting time to rest. He's getting time to relax. His confidence is through the roof. Errol Spence is back against the wall. Might play into his favor, though, more than being on top with the pressure on him. People operate different at different times. Another thing about it is, we all know that this would be one of the hardest fights for him, one of the hardest fights for any fighter, but arguably for him to take this fight as his first fight at 154, it's going to determine how people see him going forward, the way they look at him in that division, right? Now, we all seen Errol Spence do big things at 147. We seen him pretty much sweep through the division. And then so we get to 154. His first fight is against Crawford, the guy, that gave him his first loss and one of the most devastating losses that we've seen in boxing. So this is going to be a fight that could determine not only how the public perceives him as a fighter going forward, but also how the rest of the 154 class looks at him going forward. When you take a loss, when people see you've been knocked down, they feel like they got your numbers sometimes. It can make things harder for you when you're more of a boogeyman type of fighter. And then another thing about it is this: does EJ have enough time to deprogram? And the reason I say deprogram is because EJ admittedly said he's not that naturally talented fighter on the level of Terrence Crawford, but he said he's easily coachable. He's able to learn and apply boxing better. That's what gives him an edge, because he's like a machine that could download. So a lot of EJ's style leans into his coaching, So with the things he's been coached to do so far that were ineffective against Terrence Crawford, can he deprogram those things and learn new things? And I seen something interesting on AM Sports Media over there with Jason and Greg, shout out to them, where they said they heard rumors that EJ was thinking about firing Derrick James. I don't know how true that is, but there's definitely a Derrick James question to be asked there. Now, this is what Jason and Greg had to say about the issue.
So, Jay, yesterday I actually got an interesting text, and that text was that sounds like Errol Spence is going to fire Derrick James. And I thought that was interesting. It's a rumor that's out there. I haven't heard anything that actually is concrete in regards to this. But I will comment on it, and I want to get your thoughts on it as well. Errol Spence lost one fight. One. Derrick James has been with Errol Spence since he was a young kid. Been with him for a while. Yeah. Got him all the way to the point to where he is today. Errol lost one fight to a fighter that everybody deems is a special fighter, or at least a lot of people deem. This is what I find interesting. People deem Terrence Crawford to be a special fighter, but then at the same time will say the issue is with Derrick James. Which is it? Is it just that he's such a special fighter and that Errol couldn't do anything with him, or is Derrick James just not a good trainer? Like, which one is it? Because if you say he's a special fighter, but then you say Derrick James isn't a good trainer, you're actually detracting from what he accomplished against Errol Spence.
It's not so much discrediting Terrence Crawford's win to say it was the coaching, or saying that EJ isn't that good of a fighter if he gets a new coach. It's just the fact that everything they had going up to this point was sound. They never lost a fight. You know, when I say they, I mean EJ and DJ, you know, Derrick James, Errol Spence Jr. So they never lost a fight up until this point, and then they get in here and they get steamrolled. Like, the fight was almost over, per se, by the second round, the second or third round. You know, that wasn't supposed to happen. When you have something happen like that, clearly it's something majorly wrong. It's not a minor adjustment that needs to be made. It's a major adjustment. Now, I don't think that EJ should necessarily get rid of Derrick James, but he's gonna have to learn some new things in order to be able to go back in there with Terrence Crawford. You know, a lot of where I seen Terrence Crawford winning was with his ring IQ. I seen him using his footwork better. I seen him preserving his movement better, keeping his punches shorter on the inside so they could get off first. I seen Errol Spence doing a lot of the things that he's been successful with. So I can't even say it was this way or that way. I seen the aggression. He was coming forward, everything like that, but it just seemed like the things weren't working for him. So it'll be interesting to see how it is, you know, when he come back, see how everything play out, see if EJ come back and settle the score, man. I'm still a big Errol Spence Jr. fan, you know what I'm saying? Big fish, man down all day, you know. I got a lot of respect for Terrence Crawford, newfound respect for Terrence Crawford, because I wasn't sold on this level of competition, but seeing him fight in sound fashion, beat one of my favorite fighters, can't help but get a man his props. And yeah, Bud showed me some things that I was interested in. Errol, me being a big fan of his, the way the fight went disappointed me a little bit. But you know, that's the nature of boxing. Somebody gotta win, somebody gotta lose. Man, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to leave your opinions, leave your comments down in the comment section. And remember this, you can play games, but you can't play boxing. I'm gone.